Shreehas Tambe joining us, Deputy CEO, Biocon Biologics. Shreehas, great to have you with us. Let's discuss those earnings. A good set this time, and despite several expenses, you've talked about R&D, you've talked about personnel and other expenses this quarter, growth has still been robust. Talk us through some of the driving factors.
You're right, Aabha. I think this has been an extremely successful quarter with a year-on-year growth of 29%. And if you recollect, last year, first quarter, we also had a one-off sale of our COVID portfolio to the extent of 90 plus crores. Now, if you were to leave that aside, the growth in the business has been 46% over last year. So it's been a remarkable growth and a profitable growth at that, with a growth in our core EBITDA margins of over 30% year on year as well. Core EBITDA over absolute numbers, the core EBITDA margin is at that 36-37% as before, which has been a very consistent performance despite the growth in revenues. So the growth has been extremely profitable, reflected very nicely in the core EBITDA, which is actual performance of the business, net of any R&D or net of any one-off costs like the foreign exchange adjustments or mark-to-market losses. So yes, a very strong performance despite increase in personnel costs because of the increments, or also because of any other increases that we've had even in the business overall.
On the biosimilars front, Shreehas, and want to get a sense there on some of those key developments, the Vitalis acquisition set for closure in the second half of the year, how the benefits of that have been accruing, how the integration is going. If you could talk us through some of the latest there.
Well, it's been a very, very important partnership for us, which has been over a decade, and we are at that stage where we made the decision to lead that partnership by taking charge of that business and becoming a vertically integrated company. So we're very familiar with the business, very familiar with the people. We had clearly complementary capabilities, and with this acquisition now, moving to a stage where we're looking to close it by the end of this first half of the year, on getting on with the complete integrated entity towards the second half. I think we're very nicely poised to not only have the revenues accruing to us with the economic benefit, but also build on the capability of the commercial front end, which is something that we would have otherwise had to organically fit out. So this is really a very positive outcome of that collaboration, which will not just help us commercialize the existing portfolio, but actually helps us set up for all the other non-partnered programs, the new assets that we are bringing to the market. So the Viatris acquisition, of course, is a very important one, and places us in a very different league, catapulting us to another level altogether.
Similarly, now when we talk about Serum and the kind of strategic partnership that you have with Serum Institute, or the strategic alliance, again, the latest on that front and how this has really shaped up and contributed to overall growth.
Yeah, so this is clearly another growth driver for us, which we've announced and talked about it in the past as well, that it sets us up in a way where we can continue to earn even as we learn and explore a new growth driver. And that is gone through all the regulatory approvals as we are talking about today, with probably the last approval pending on both sides. And once we have passed the statutory approvals, we are at the place where in the second half, we will look to accrue the revenues and the commensurate mid-30s EBITDA from the Serum acquisition as well. So I think that is really going to help us in a very big way, because then it allows us to fund our investments in R&D, which is really a growth for the future. So that is an important piece which will come on board in the second half of.
So talking about long-term growth, then what are some of the plans? We did hear murmurs of an IPO for the biologics division down the line, perhaps. What are you looking at in terms of building up some of these key verticals and a slightly longer-term outlook in terms of vision and growth for the company?
On the business front, clearly a very exciting phase because it allows us to become more customer facing, more able to deliver on the vision that we have set for ourselves. So clearly a very exciting time on that front in terms of saying what are the products we bring to patients. The serum deal allows us to expand those growth drivers into an area which sets us up beyond the immediate. So I think we are set strategically in a very nice way. And we've always talked about unlocking value, which is inherent in our business. We've done that earlier with one of our other group companies. And we've stated publicly that we would want to unlock the value that's inherent in the biologics business. And we stay on track with the 15-18-month guidance that we had provided before. And looks like we're moving in the right direction there.
Also, while we're in conversation, Shreehas, wanted to get your expert take on really the monkeypox vaccine. We've been hearing about how it's certain companies are trying to outsource it, address and contain the spread of monkeypox in the country. Could you share any kind of insight into those developments?
Well, I don't have any insights to share. Let me put it this way at this time. But needless to say, now that they've been able to isolate, the virus, and there is progress being made in that direction, hopefully we will have a vaccine and an ecosystem which can help avoid a spread, which of course has been declared by the WHO as an emergency in a way. So we're hoping that it doesn't spread, and whatever role that Biocon Biologics can play, we'll be happy to. But nothing that I can add as insights beyond that at this time.
With the rising cases of viruses, whether it be swine flu, monkeypox, we're still not completely in the clear when it comes to COVID-19 variants. Are you still seeing a heightened risk of outbreak, or do you feel perhaps that these are now outbreaks that can be largely contained?
Yeah, I mean, of course, with the pandemic, the focus that viral infections and viral vaccines has got is tremendous. While the general view has always been that these are things to be looked at, it's not a global problem, but a problem limited to a part of the world. I think that approach overall, that lens has changed. The view that COVID's gone or receded is accurate only to a limited extent, that we don't see that in our immediate environment, but it's pretty much still there, and we see pretty prominent people in even developed economies being infected. Even now, people having reinfections. So I think it's important to be careful about it and not just dismiss that it's gone and over. But more importantly, as we've looked at metabolic diseases or diseases which are non-communicable, the idea should be to look at treatments for those. And infectious diseases, which could be the kind that we are talking about today, and monkeypox, or whether it is the COVID virus before or SARS before that, instead of getting an infection and treating it, the approach ideally should be prevention. And I think that's where vaccines have a very big role. And it's not to be viewed in the lens of the now and here, but a more forward-looking approach, saying how do we do this to improve the overall health of nations, rather than just trying to look at business in the current quarter or the 4 quarters from.
All right, Shreehas, great speaking with you. Thank you once again for joining us and sharing with us an outlook on Biocon Biologics and some of the growth parameters this quarter.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.